Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, has made his grand return, but not in the way that many expected. With great eagerness and anticipation, we all waited to see the day that Anakin's Force Ghost would appear to either Luke or Ahsoka, shedding some wisdom upon them, or at least have a scene of reconciliation. The relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka was one thing that was always left a bit unfinished since Vader died alone in the arms of his son, with Ahsoka and Anakin never getting a chance to speak. But now that the desired closure has come, we were all thrown for a loop when Anakin was present himself, not as a Force Ghost, but as an entirely different being. In the world between worlds, Anakin shows himself to Ahsoka in an actual corporeal form. Not only this, but he now possesses powers beyond the scope of what we thought was possible for a mortal being, alive or dead. While we don't exactly know what Anakin is, or how he came to exist in this state, one thing is for certain: Anakin may now just be the most powerful being in all of Star Wars canon. The closest thing we have to compare him with in canon continuity may be the Force Priestesses. And in this video, my friends, we are going to highlight some of the similarities between Anakin and these ultimate beings of power, to hopefully shed a little more light on the state of Anakin's existence level, and what he may now be. So without further ado, let's begin. It has become very clear that Anakin is no mere Force Ghost. He has passed far beyond that now. In these archives, we have recently discussed the possibility of him being the last Mortis god, or maybe he ascended to becoming a Celestial, assuming such a thing was even possible. But now we have decided to go even further than that, and perhaps imply that Anakin has joined the ranks of the upper echelon of cosmic beings within the Force. One thing that we know from both legends and canon is that the Force will sometimes either manifest itself or spawn beings that exist within a completely different space in the Force itself, one that mortals cannot touch. Sometimes we get beings like the Bendu, who is in a limbo between mortality and immortality, a being of flesh that can transform within the Force at will. Other times, we are faced with the Lothwolves, or the Ones of Mortis, who exist on a higher tier of power. They are thoroughly immortal and can access the cosmic powers of the Force to a point where being able to pass between dimensions. But then you have the ones that stand above them all, that being the Force Priestesses. The Priestesses are unimaginably high on the tier of cosmic existence that we aren't even sure what they are, similarly to now, our Chosen One. But what do we know about the Priestesses and their relationship to Anakin? The Priestesses are a group of 5 near-identical beings that inhabit the Wellspring of Life. The Wellspring was a conjoining point between the living Force and the Cosmic Force, the birthplace of the midichlorians. What's unique about the Priestesses is that they are said to be dead, similar to how Anakin may have died, but that they have achieved a level of existence that's beyond even what Force Ghosts can achieve. It was stated by Dave Filoni that he always liked to believe that the Priestesses were all once one singular being, a being who upon her death split her identity into 5 parts that we're familiar with. Those parts are serenity, joy, anger, sadness, and confusion. Although this is more akin to one of Filoni's own headcanons, it is the only thing we really have to lean on when it comes to figuring out what the Priestesses are. So for the purposes of our subject matter today, we're going to assume that this is factual. The Force Priestesses are guardians and guides. They are able to lead those that come to them to knowledge of life beyond death, or to put it more accurately, identity beyond death. Anytime a Jedi comes to this knowledge, they are able to manifest as a blue-tinted spirit, or as echoing voices depending on the mastery over this preservation technique. For a long time, it was believed that this was the stop line, but it seems the fact that this only rings true to normal Jedi, not to beings like Anakin. The Force Priestesses are confirmed to in fact be dead. They explicitly tell this to Yoda. However, they are not ghosts. Like how we've seen others like Anakin physically manifest himself, the Priestesses do this as well. Their forms are solid and tangible, yet they are able to alter them at will. This ability to completely change themselves and their environments is another ability shared between Master Anakin and the Priestesses, suggesting a level of reality warping capabilities that is only unique to them thus far. Such powers are only seen to the level of these enhanced beings, as even the gods of Mortis didn't display the ability to alter reality itself, only project illusions, shape change, and influence the mind of mortals in their vicinity. But what is the point to all of this. We believe that Anakin has achieved a state similar to that of the Force priestesses, and now serves as a guardian of the cosmic force. Going back to the similarities between their powers, they share very similar abilities, with both Anakin and the priestesses able to shape the Force, doing so in such a way that it influences the fabric of reality itself. What Yoda went through in his trials were no mere illusions, they were only tests to be sure, and it wasn't as though he was traveling through time, but the priestesses were able to completely fabricate an entire scenario that was deeply detailed and tailored to Yoda specifically. They even admit to this right before Yoda enters the Sith tombs on Korriban. Master Anakin was able to do something on that same level, though he mostly used his influence over the world between worlds to accomplish this. We still aren't sure how this works, as he was able to bring Ahsoka in and out of the world between worlds without using any gateways. Anakin also didn't use a gate when he took her through the walk down memory lane. What's even more than this is that Anakin didn't use the world between worlds as it functions in Rebels, where one was able to travel to different points in time. Rather, it appeared as though Anakin was using his own power to craft an entirely new reality using Ahsoka's own memories. We can deduce this because Ahsoka's age changed as she went through each sequence. She inhabited her younger self and went through the motions of her memory. Anakin also inhabited himself in these memories, and both of them retained their modern identity. They didn't actually travel back in time, but traversed Ahsoka's life using Anakin's power. This kind of high concept level of power display can only be accomplished by beings on these levels. Not even the ones showed this kind of ability. Another one of the extremely powerful abilities of the priestesses, specifically Serenity, was able to drain the life from a plant and cause it to transform into the Force at a mere touch. Anakin was able to literally cut through one of the bridges in the world between worlds with his lightsaber. While we don't know what things can or can't affect the bridges and gates within this world, we can say that not even Sidious's Sith fire could influence the bridge in Rebels. This means that not only does Master Anakin have dominion over the realm, but he actively has power over it. But the final ability shared between Anakin and the priestesses is their ability to change themselves. The priestesses don't exactly alter their form, but they can appear and disappear at will, something Anakin did a few times. They can also transform and travel in spheres of light. In a couple of instances, the priestesses removed their masks and vanished within the Force, showing that they don't even need a corporeal or manifested form to be present. Master Skywalker was able to change from himself to Vader without any effort or hesitation. He could influence the color of his lightsaber and even his own appearance and voice when inhabiting Ahsoka's memory. They shared the ability to change the things around them, change themselves, and even reality. But one power that Master Skywalker is shown to be capable of that we don't see the Force priestesses use is the ability to change others. The priestesses never directly touch or interact with Yoda or another living thing outside of Serenity touching the plant. This implies that they may have the ability to do so, but choose not to. But since we have to go based on what we've seen displayed, Master Anakin is the only one between these two parties that has been able to alter the form and appearance of another person. He does so to Ahsoka by aging her up and down depending on what memory they are inhabiting. Anakin was able to bring her in and out of the world between worlds at will, and after disarming her of her lightsabers, thus dooming them to the void, Ahsoka's sabers were still with her when she came back into the physical world. It is established that everything that happened was no mere vision, so this is definitely another case of reality warping and influence over another person and their items. But now that we've talked about their powers, let's discuss their roles. Anakin and the priestesses have so far shown two distinct traits: their position as watchful guardians and otherworldly mentors. The priestesses were aware of Yoda before he ever even knew them, and they even foreshadow his arrival to their domain and had been waiting for him. What's absolutely fascinating about this is that the priestesses, Serenity specifically, spoke to Yoda about his foreseen arrival as though it were an absolute certainty. Typically with visions of the future, Force wielders are shown one of many possible futures, but the priestesses were capable of knowing certain future. It is even hinted at that they are able to observe the galaxy from outside of their domain. Both of these things Master Anakin was also capable of. He knew of Ahsoka's travels and how she had been beaten by Baylan. Anakin also knew that eventually she would come to him via her death. The only thing he didn't know were the things like the Siege of Mandalore, which happened while he was still alive. The most popular theory is that Anakin is now basically the master of the world between worlds, and serves as the keeper of the balance of the universe. The priestesses are implied to be the stewards of the wellspring of life. Both of these things further the idea that both parties are more akin to guardians of these very important places within the Force itself rather than actual living beings. But we'll come back to this in just a moment. The two of them are also otherworldly mentors. The priestesses guided Qui-Gon and Yoda to knowledge, and pretty much open to teaching anyone this knowledge, so long as the student is coming from a place of a pure heart. Anakin also serves as the teacher to Ahsoka. It is unclear if Ahsoka is the only person that Master Skywalker has trained, but they take on similar roles. Ethereal mentors, keepers of certain realms. But now let's talk about their domains. If Anakin is the most powerful being in Star Wars canon, the similarities with the priestesses is our most important point of origin. They live in the wellspring of life, a physical place within the galaxy like Mortis, which is the convergence between the cosmic and the living force. The priestesses seem to exist in limbo between these two parts of the force, and so does the realm that they inhabit. At the wellspring, the force is palpable and can be seen with the naked eye. It is the place where the cosmic gives birth to the midichlorians, and therefore the living force. It is also said to be where things within the living force pass on and return to the cosmic force. It is a place of life and light. The priestesses represent this perfectly. They are shown to be exclusively aligned to the light side of the Force, as they only train those of pure heart full of righteousness and compassion. The way to becoming a Force ghost in the first place is something that even Lucas has stated is only possible for those who are truly selfless. This is why Sith cannot become Force ghosts in this method. The priestesses promote the ideas of confronting and making peace with the dark side of oneself. And even the priestess who represents anger does not advocate for the dark side, but rather is angry in a zealous way towards the light, scrutinizing anyone who wishes to learn from them. Anakin is now in this balance between the light and the dark. He is able to seamlessly switch between Anakin and Vader and test the resolve of Ahsoka, challenging her will to live or die. He pushes her to introduce not only peace, but also passion back into her life. The balance of the light and dark is representative by his domain, the world between worlds. This realm is a big part of the cosmic force, and now too, so is Anakin. The cosmic force is the real star of the show. For the longest time, we have been privy to the inner workings of the living force as shown by Qui-Gon, Yoda, and the Jedi ideals. It has always been about life and either the preservation, manipulation, or decimation of it. But in this era, we are finally getting to explore the facets of the cosmic force, something that is still not fully understood. We are more familiar with the powers and influence of the living force, but with the insane abilities being displayed by Anakin, with the ability to warp reality on a trans-dimensional level, this is indicative of only the levels of power available to those who can reach and manipulate the cosmic force. Perhaps this is Anakin's true mastery. Now the balance within the living force has been achieved. The Chosen One has unlocked the gifts that have long since been kept under lock and key. The cosmic. Anakin is the son of the Force, and now can reach its levels in ways no other being has ever dreamed. And this is why we believe that Master Anakin Skywalker is now the most powerful being in all of Star Wars canon. But my friends, tell us what you think about this. The dichotomy between the living force and the cosmic force is one that is pretty blurry and a bit misunderstood. So if you'd like a more in-depth look into the differences, be sure to let us know in the comments below. And as always my friends, until next time, may the Force be with you.